Hola Mi Bitches, tis I, Chlois, aka Manny Bish, and today we are putting on jelly tips with the acrylic method. So, I'm just measuring and making sure that these fit, and this one was slightly too big, but the next size down was way too small. So if this happens, you want to go to the bigger size if you can't find your perfect size, and then file it down to the correct size. So I am just filing my sidewalls, getting it down to the size that fits my thumb, checking it periodically, making sure I don't overfile it. And then I am also, before I put on the jelly tips, I do this on every jelly tip, I like to file the cuticle area down some because they do come pretty thick for most of the jelly tips that I've received. And so just so I have less blending to do after I have them on, I like to go ahead and just try and, smooth that, thin it out some, so that way I get a more seamless blend. And then I have less filing to do with it on my nail, which means less risk for cutting myself with a file, all the things. So I have my e-file at 4,000 RPM, and this is just a cuticle ball bit, and I did that to all of my fingers just real quick around the cuticle to get any cuticle off. I cleansed my nail with alcohol. I also like to brush the nail tips off since I did file them, and then this acrylic primer is the absolute best. I will hands down always recommend this. I have little to no, that's what I mean. Little to no lifting at all when I use this. So this is the ACRYLIC acrylic primer. It's very thick and jelly-like, but just let that sit for a second, let it get tacky before you go in. And then I am going to get the air bubbles out of my brush and get a few swipes in before I go in with an actual bead of acrylic. And this is the number 10 ACRYLIC brush. I believe this is not sponsored by ACRYLIC. I just really love their products. I'm also using the ACRYLIC monomer, and these are the ACRYLIC jelly tips. So anywho, just putting that bead of acrylic at the cuticle, and then you'll just put it on like a jelly tip. And it's nice because it is super thick, so it's going to stay more or less where you put it. If you get the right consistency of bead. And then after I get that there on the nail, I will just clean around my cuticles, getting any spillage cleaned up. And you'll see that I have just a little bit here on my thumb. You could leave it there and file it off later, or if it's still manageable, you could just scrape it off like I'm doing here with my brush. And I do clean my brush in between, cuticle beads or beads. I don't work with acrylic all that often, so I'm not sure the exact vocabulary. Is that, am I using that right? I don't know. Whatever. Yeah. So I again am just doing this. I'm taking medium-sized beads. I cannot talk. To do these, that's gonna be more or less like perfect for my nail bed length, so that I don't come up short on the acrylic, and so I'm not like crazily overfilling either. And I'm trying to keep these beads not dry at all, because then they're going to harden way too fast and you're not going to get that like smooth movement from the cuticle to the free edge that you want. But I also I'm trying not to keep these too liquidy of beads, because then you have way more spillage and a huge mess. So this did take a little bit of practice, trial and error, which I did do on my right hand. So I used my left hand. I did my dominant hand first, using my non-dominant hand to apply. So that was an experience, but I wanted it to be like, I wanted to have the rhythm down for when I did this video for y'all. So yeah, I found my perfect, I found my rhythm by the time I got to this hand. So I really like this method. I have not had any problems with any lifting or anything. It's already been, I think, 2-ish weeks since I filmed this video. I know, we're like, whoo, video, great, yeah, that's behind. And still going strong. I have done 1 fill on them with acrylic, so yeah. They're doing good though, no problems. So then I am taking my acrylic cutters and I'm cutting just below the number that shows the number that the nail is. And here I am seasoning my brand new file. I needed a new file out, so I took my old file and I'm seasoning it, just filing those edges, the perimeter of the new file to make sure that we don't cut ourselves. And then with my e-file at an RPM of 9,000, now I am going around and cleaning up that cuticle area, getting any excess acrylic that's spilled over, that's on top of the nail now, cleaning that off, blending everything more seamless into my cuticle and sidewalls. That way it just looks more natural and flawless. Anyways, yeah, I do really like this method. I seem to do better with acrylic, it seems like, maybe more so than gel. Using the gel method for this. So, yeah. And I also got the square tips. I don't know why I've been wanting to try square tips for so long. I got the square tips. Like them, but you'll see in my next few videos coming up that I did change the shape already. But anywho, I am blending that sidewall in so everything is just more even and squared off. Doing my free edge, making sure that is straight. This is the way that I like to file my nails. I will do the up and down motion like this. My sidewalls, making sure everything's the same length, cleaning after I'm done filing to get all the debris off, and then we are going to go in with our top coat. And you don't necessarily have to do this. You could just go right in on top of this with either, your pill base and then your mani, or just your mani, whatever you're doing, however you're vibing. But I did go in with a top coat over this just to smooth out those areas that I did file around the cuticle and everything. And I also wasn't planning on dipping over it this day exactly. So I did go ahead and just seal everything with a gel top coat, which is from Mani Boss. And I wore it plain like this for about 2 or 3 days before I actually did anything over top of it. But yeah, this is, I think, the process that I have liked the most and found the most longevity with and everything. No lifting or anything. And yeah, I really just like the way that this applied. And this is my first time trying the acrylic application with jelly tips. Love it so far. And like I said, it's been about 2 weeks. I've done 1 fill and it's all just going really good so far. A little bit of grow out now after my fill, but yeah, this is that. So I hope y'all enjoyed this video and I'll catch y'all in the next one. Bye, bitches!